Have you ever wondered about the powerful story behind one of the shortest, yet most profound chapters in the Qur'an? Today, we're diving deep into the history and meaning of Surah Al-Kafirun, a chapter that stands as a beacon of faith and principle. Imagine Mecca in the early days of Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his small group of followers faced immense pressure. The powerful Quraysh tribe, the leaders of Mecca, saw this new faith as a threat to their traditions, their power, and their economy, which was heavily tied to the idols in the Kaaba. They tried everything to stop the message of Islam from spreading. They ridiculed the Prophet, they persecuted his followers, and they offered him tempting bribes. But the Prophet's faith was unshakable. He continued to call people to the worship of one God, Allah. Seeing that their tactics weren't working, the leaders of Quraysh, men like Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, Al-As ibn Wa'il, and Umayyah ibn Khalaf, decided to try a new approach. They came to the Prophet with what they thought was a brilliant compromise. They approached him and said, "O Muhammad, let us come to an agreement. We will worship your God for 1 year, and you will worship our gods for 1 year. Then the next year, we'll switch back. If what you have brought is better than what we have, we will have a share in it. And if what we have is better than what you have brought, you will have a share in it." Think about this proposal for a moment. From a worldly perspective, it might seem like a clever way to find peace, a political negotiation to end the conflict. They were essentially proposing a religious timeshare. They believed that by blending their practices, they could create a unified community and put an end to the division. They were trying to find a middle ground. But in matters of faith, especially the core principle of Tawheed, the absolute oneness of God, there can be no middle ground. The worship of Allah alone is the foundation of Islam. To mix it with the worship of idols, even for a single day, would be to compromise the very essence of the message. It would be an act of shirk, associating partners with God, which is the one unforgivable sin in Islam if a person dies upon it without repenting. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was faced with a critical moment. How should he respond to this seemingly diplomatic offer? This wasn't just a personal decision. It was a defining moment for the future of Islam. The answer came directly from Allah, swift and decisive, in the form of Surah Al-Kafirun. Allah revealed the entire chapter at once, providing the Prophet with the perfect, unwavering response. Let's go through it, verse by verse. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun. Say, O disbelievers. The address is direct and clear. It doesn't mince words. It establishes a clear line between belief and disbelief. This isn't an insult, but a statement of fact, addressing them by the identity they themselves held, as those who rejected the truth. La abudu ma ta'budun. I do not worship what you worship. This is the immediate and complete rejection of their proposal. It's a declaration of separation in worship. My worship is for Allah alone. Yours is directed elsewhere. There is no overlap. Wala antum abiduna ma abud. Nor are you worshippers of what I worship. This verse goes deeper. It's not just that they worship different idols. Their entire concept of worship and their understanding of God are fundamentally different from the Islamic concept. They were not, at that moment, worshiping the one true God that the Prophet Muhammad worshipped. Even if they claimed to worship Allah alongside other deities, their worship was corrupted by shirk. Wala ana abidun ma abattum. Nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship. This verse emphasizes the future. It's not just a rejection of their offer right now, it is a permanent declaration. It means, I will never ever worship your false gods. It solidifies the principle, making it timeless. Wala antum abiduna ma abud. Nor will you be worshippers of what I worship. This repetition is powerful. It reinforces the unbridgeable gap between the two belief systems. As long as they remain upon their disbelief, they cannot truly worship what the believers worship. It emphasizes the persistence of their state of disbelief unless they choose to accept the truth. And finally, the concluding verse, which summarizes the entire principle with beautiful clarity. Lakum dinukum waliya din. For you is your religion, and for me is my religion. This is not a statement of you do you and I'll do me in the modern relativistic sense. It is not an affirmation that all paths are equally valid. Rather, it is a declaration of disassociation. It means we are on two separate paths. Your path of polytheism is for you, and you will bear its consequences. My path of monotheism is for me, and I will be accountable for it. It is a statement of peaceful coexistence without religious compromise. It sets a clear boundary. We can live in the same society. We can interact. We can be neighbors. But when it comes to the core acts of faith and worship, our ways are completely separate. When the prophet recited these verses to the leaders of Quraysh, they were stunned. The response was absolute. There was no room for negotiation, no ambiguity. They understood that their attempt at a compromise had failed completely, and they left in despair. This surah became a powerful tool for the early Muslims. It fortified their faith and gave them the clarity and confidence to stand firm in their beliefs, no matter the pressure. The Prophet himself loved this surah so much that he would often recite it in his prayers, particularly in the Sunnah prayers before Fajr and after Maghrib, and in the Witr prayer. It served as a constant reminder of the core principle of Tawheed. So what can we learn from this incredible story today? Surah Al-Kafirun teaches us the importance of holding firm to our principles, especially the core tenets of our faith. In a world full of confusing ideas and pressures to compromise, this surah is our guide. It teaches us to be clear and confident in our identity as Muslims. It also teaches us about tolerance. The final verse, "For you is your religion, and for me is my religion," is often cited as a principle for interfaith relations. It means we respect the right of others to choose their own path, even if we believe it to be wrong. We do not force our religion upon them. We can live together in peace and be good to others, but we must never, ever compromise on the worship of Allah alone. The story behind Surah Al-Kafirun is a timeless lesson in integrity, faith, and clarity. It's a reminder that true peace comes not from compromising our beliefs, but from standing firm upon the truth with wisdom and grace. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the meaning of Surah Al-Kafirun. I hope it has brought you as much benefit as it has for me. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more stories from the Qur'an, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, may peace be with you.